Yo, man, this is the remix version. We got a beat this time. 1942 original tribute beat. It's gonna be awesome. Check it out. Here we go. Yo. Gimpin ain't easy, but it's necessary. I be getting weary, cause shit be getting scary. But sit back, relax, and don't you dare worry, cause I be hitting wrongs with a righteous fury. Yes, sir, see, I am the only one. My name is Josh Dunn, gonna have some fun. Telling the truth, y'all can't handle. I might raise a scandal as I dismantle the fake, make 'em quake and make 'em shake. I make you bend, but never will I make you break. Just chill, yo, and don't be frightened. Open that closed mind, it's time to get enlightened. Welcome once again, folks, to the sophomore edition. That means number 2 of Gimpin Aint Eazy. We're back. We have not kicked off any of the social media platforms yet, I'm glad to hear, so we're doing this once again. This is not going to be a GIMP episode. I'm going to move completely away from this to show that I'm a multi-talented, diverse, at least multi-interested person, if not talented. Our sponsors this week are once again Cafe Sampoil, where the feature film is a copy of About Schmidt, where Jack Nicholson looks like a sad version of Archie Bunker. Has Archie finally realized he's a racist? Is there any possible way a fictional character from the 70s could have anything to do with a film from 2002? Buy the tape and find out. We're also brought to you this week by Purina Brand Dog Chow. Hey, it ain't bad if there's nothing else to eat. And this just in, we are brought to you this week by 1942's Breath. The monitor didn't work. He said, I used to take out my old duck hunt game and blow on it in the 80s. And lo and behold, he blew on the cord and we're in business. So 1942's Breath is letting this happen. This week, I'd like to talk about something non-GIMP related. This will not be a GIMP episode in any fashion. It's a very hot button topic these days, and I'd like to give my 2 cents. I'd like to tell you what I think about immigration. Let me first start by saying I don't get it, man. I don't get why people are so vehemently opposed. They're going to steal our jobs, put a strain on social services. Man, fuck off with that bullshit. If there can be billionaires, everybody should be able to get their basic food, shelter, and clothing needs met, no exceptions. Period. Especially in first world countries that have so much wealth, there's absolutely no excuse to deny anybody those things. I've never bought the argument that since we can't take care of our own people, we've got no business helping foreigners. Again, fuck off with that bullshit. That's just straight up xenophobia, man. First, we can take care of our own people. It's just that our governments choose to allow homelessness, amongst other things. Second, I don't understand what binds you to your fellow citizens by some arbitrary borders drawn up by culture-destroying crooks several hundred years ago. Of course, naturally, we're inclined to care more deeply about the welfare of our family and friends, but citizens? Man, why should I care more about a guy 2 streets over than a guy coming in from another country? The guy 2 streets over might have fucked me over somehow. The cat from another country never did anything to me. I never met him before. I support background checks to some extent, I wouldn't let a cat strapped with a bomb come on in, it's probably a good idea to make sure they don't have a past of bombing abortion clinics or shooting up supermarkets. But really, terrorist types are about 1 in a million, Most immigrants are trying to flee terror and come somewhere so they can have a safer life for their families. If that's all you're trying to do, you just want a peaceful, safe existence, I say, come on down. Just as I was preparing for this, I heard Trump has agreed to stop the family separation taking place at the U.S. border. For those who don't know, when supposed illegal immigrants are being deported, sometimes their very small children are left behind in cages, because, at least for now, you can't send children to jail. It's about time, you fucking diseased carrot-looking motherfucker. I was going to say carrot-looking, but then I realized that would be an insult to carrots, and I just feel like Trump's particular shade of orange can't really occur in nature. How can you separate small children from their parents who are only trying to give them a better life? Shame on you, you motherfucker. Saw a guy post a photo on a Facebook thread to the effect of, U.S. citizens break the law and are separated from their children. Illegal immigrants break the law and are separated from their children. The solution? Don't break the law. How is that in any way the same thing? Carl, I think that was the guy's name. You're an insult to all well-meaning and informed Carls in the world. You brainwashed troglodyte motherfucker. Look, if a U.S. citizen rapes someone, you should throw them in jail and separate them from their children. If someone is trying to immigrate and make a better life for their family, shouldn't we help them do it? There's a difference between a just and unjust law, you fucking dummy. If law was passed that said every man had to shoot their wife when she turned 80, I hope you'd break the law. If not, I hope she can find asylum in Canada, you brainwashed troglodyte motherfucker. Let people in, man, that's trying to make a better life for themselves. This week, folks, as promised, it is a non-GIMP episode entirely, as I have my guest, Ronok Sarkar. He is the impresario behind Bend the River. Bend the River is about to release a new album. The album will be produced by Joel Plaskett. Tonight, on this episode, you're going to hear the world premiere of his song White Line. I hope Grandmaster Flash doesn't take him to court, and I'm going to delve deep into some deep, dark, dirty secrets. The politics behind Bend the River. Who's been kicked out of the band? Who's still in? I don't know. Who does Ronok owe money? Let's find out. I'm here with Ronok Sarkar, the impresario of Bend the River. I'm happy to have him here up here in the Shangri-La, and we're drinking some scotch and going to do this interview for you folks here. How you doing, Ronok?
Pretty good, Josh.
Has anybody ever called you an impresario before?
I don't even know if I know what that word means, actually.
I had to look it up, and I think it was a very successful entrepreneur of some type.
Oh, really? So, okay. I don't know how successful I am, but thank you. And thanks for inviting me up here, Josh.
Oh, thanks for coming, yeah. Right off the top, I'd like to ask you, just because your names are a little similar, you know, the first name starts with R, and the second name, in his case, I'm thinking of Ravi Shankar. Have you ever been confused with Ravi Shankar?
No, I have not. Nope. Ravi Shankar is pretty cool, but no. You mean has somebody confused me for Ravi Shankar? Is that the question?
That was the question.
Okay, yeah.
Nope.
Hasn't happened. No.
Just me.
I think
guess.
he's from a different era, a little bit. Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get around. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Ronok doesn't really sound like Ravi, but Shankar and Sarkar are kind of close, right?
Yeah. I worked with a guy. What's his name? His name was Andre Sarkar, and we worked at a place where people used to have to call us like Mister, so they'd say Mr. Sarkar, and then I wouldn't know if they were. Well, I knew, but I don't think the person who was saying it sometimes knew if they were saying. They'd sometimes just interchange the names, right?
You could have framed him for a bunch of crimes, Ronok.
Yes, I could have, but he was more the criminal, so...
So he framed you?
No, well, there was no framing back then, so...
No framing. Everybody went to jail, honestly, I guess.
Yeah, in the good old days.
Good old days of good, honest, hard time, I suppose. Why don't you tell everybody here, like, where are you from? What was your childhood like?
I'm just from Toronto, so it's pretty. I grew up in Oshawa, which is about an hour outside of Toronto, and then we moved to Toronto when I was around 12 years old, and grew up there. And then I've been in Halifax for about 14 years, something like that.
Are you happier that you're in Halifax?
Yeah, I think so. We're here. We're settled in here, I guess. It's been a while. I got 2 kids.
You'd rather raise your children in Halifax than Toronto?
I don't know. The original plan was to move back to Toronto because it seemed like the big city was better for the kids and all that. But as times moved on, you kind of not so sure that that's the case anymore. So here we are.
It's crooked everywhere, if you ask me. There's no safe place to raise
Yeah,
kids
that's
now.
probably about right. Yeah.
What were some early musical influences you had there?
Oh, it's kind of been all over the map for a long time. I guess the first one was Elvis when I was young.
Uh-huh.
A lot of yes, a lot of Elvis, and then just a whole bunch of different music. It was over different time frames and stuff.
Give me like a top couple.
I don't know. That's I guess from different aspects, right? I mean, you got from a songwriting kind of aspect. There's kinds of there's the big there's the Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, all of that, but then there's also I'm a very big Cole Porter fan, and a lot of country songwriters from like Hank Williams and all that to just like kind of all over the map on a songwriter front, and then
Any Toby Maguire?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Not so much, eh?
not so much.
Yeah, and
I mean, a lot of my influences over like the last little while have been out of Halifax. Actually, a lot of great songwriters and people who've kind of really, I've tried to emulate and tried to kind of be inspired by right here in the city. So that's kind of where my influences are these days.
let's name a couple. Give them some press.
Well, I mean, you've been out to a lot. I've seen you at a lot of Al Tuck shows,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, you're a big fan as well. And that's no surprise. I mean, you've been a big fan of music since I've known you. Coming out to shows and seeing you at, both of us have been to a lot of Al Tuck shows.
Yep.
And Al Tuck's just a great writer. A friend of mine's from England has actually started working on a documentary about him. And it's about time, right? So it's I think he's working on that with him, and then there's just a whole slew of songwriters around town that kind of blow your mind, right? Amelia Curran and Aaron Costello, and and then there's some John McKeel was in town.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. There's just a list goes on, and then there's people kind of a little more under the radar. A friend of mine, Bill Travis. He's a great songwriter.
Billy T, my stepdad, I think plays the bass in that band.
I think that's right. Yeah. Laura Merriman just moved back to town.
That's my stepsister.
Yeah. So, but then, there's a lot. I mean, in our band, we got some good songwriters. I mean, Norma's a great songwriter in Bend the River.
And Becky's in there too, isn't she?
Becky's she's not singing with us lately, but she was with us for a while, and that was great having her. And she's an amazing songwriter too.
Yeah. Did you always know that you wanted to be a musician?
No, I came into it pretty late, actually. To be honest, it was I mean, I've played music for a long time, but I didn't play it well for far too long, and then kind of had a bit of catching up to do. So, I mean, I'm not a musician mainly. I'm more of a songwriter. But it wasn't something I thought about too much when I was young.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I really didn't know until, and I don't in some ways, not fully. I don't even really consider myself a comedian anymore because I'm doing like different things as opposed to traditional stand up. But I'll still do stand up, so I'm not saying like I'm absolutely not a comedian. But I think for myself, it wasn't until just before I did comedy, like maybe a year before, so like 21, 22, that I realized that I wanted to be an artist and a performer of any kind. Were you around that? Or was it even a little later than that? Even? Or?
It was kind of like I think the first show I ever played, I was like probably 26 or 27, so it was a bit later than that. Yeah, it was back in Toronto. I had a band back in Toronto called Wilson Winters, and we played a bunch of shows around Toronto for years. Yeah.
That's funny because I was just about to ask what were some earlier musical incarnations, and that was one, Wilson Winters.
Wilson Winters was the name of the band, yeah. It was guitar player by the name of Charlie Floriano and It was just 4-piece, and yeah, we played a bunch of shows. We used to play a lot at a club called 360 back in the day. That was probably early 2000s.
Okay, so yeah, and then Bend the River's been the main thing for the past while now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we've been the band's been together for about I guess around 10 years, and then but the current lineup's been about 4 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's more staying power, less turnover than McDonald's or call centers, right? So
Yeah,
you
I
have some
suppose.
success there, right?
Yeah.
Core nucleus.
Well, you call him 1942, but he's our drummer. So how did he get? Why is I got a question for you? What's with the 1942?
1942 arises from back when Cafe Sampoil used to have the old school 80s video arcade games. There was one called 1942 that's also, and he was blowing that up, playing it all the time. He got the top score, he ran the board, and I mean, my kind of nicknames are unique because nobody else seems to follow them and call the nicknames I call
Right.
people, so nobody else is going to say. I mean, his name is Mark, right? 1942. I had to say all that out. Only somebody as foolish as me would have the patience to say something
Well,
like
what
that.
does 1942 have to say about the whole thing?
I'm just used to it.
Yeah. How long's this been going on? 1942.
What, the nickname?
Yeah, yeah.
Couple, I don't know, 2 years?
Maybe 3 or 4, but 2 anyways for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how would you say Bend the River sort of differs from the earlier band?
Well, I think we were more probably more acousticy and folky, and now I think we're become a little more of a rock and roll band with time. And I think the influences are wider. I think everybody's playing to their influences a little more than they used to. I think everybody kind of was kind of like trying to play to kind of a particular sound, and now people are kind of digging deeper into who they are in the band, and kind of I think that's what the new sound is. It's a lot of so the band is Matt Meyer on keys and Adam Fine on bass, and you really hear them kind of doing what they do and digging into their kind of deeper musical influences and where they're coming from. And then you got Phil Sador, who's kind of got a real rich kind of ability to kind of go in different directions, and we're all kind of going and Mark too. I mean, Mark's bringing a different soul flavor and a different vibe to things. That's kind of that's the sound of it now. It's not really the sound of a folk songwriter kind of thing that it was originally.
So is that just a real fancy way of telling me you sold out like Dylan and went electric?
Well, I don't know if I'm electric because I don't. They don't let me play the electric guitar very much.
That's right. The piano doesn't plug in, does it?
Right. But yeah, actually, on the new recordings, I play very little. I play acoustic guitar on one song. I think it's out of the 4 songs on the new EP.
How is that? Do you think it's complementary or conflictual or both? With these sort of individual voices all coming in, or?
Well, I don't know what people are going to make of it. It's, I mean, we have a song that sounds, we have songs that sound now like kind of mid-70s Elvis, and we have songs that sound pretty, almost like 1978, kind of something you'd hear at a club in 1978. So it's kind of all over the place, and we have stuff that sounds, far more modern. So I don't know what people are going to make of it. I think we all love it a lot more than we've loved anything else we've done. So you got to kind of take it from there, right?
From Suspicious Minds to Funky Town to cocaine.
That's pretty. That would be pretty. Yeah. So if people like that, then people are gonna kind of dig the new Bend the River.
That's hot, man. How do you find like I don't know if people know this. I think it's often like an 83 person band. I don't know how. Like, do you have trouble fitting on stage sometimes? Like,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's 7 of us, right? So it's
that's the same as 83, right?
yeah. Well, 83 would be that's a big number, but I think there's probably larger bands around town. I think there's some. I think it's kind of the thing to kind of stack on a lot of players. So the stages should really start thinking about that and getting a little bigger as the bands get larger, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just a one person usually on stage myself, but if the stages get bigger, I can gain about 400 pounds and still have plenty of elbow room, so I dig it, man. I support big stages.
Right.
Is it hard managing all those different personalities at once? Is there conflicts arise?
No, not really. I don't. Not with us. I mean, we're just kind of. Yeah, I don't think that's any kind of problem at all. It's time is sometimes an issue as people get busier, but that's about it.
Bend the River has stayed away from cocaine, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all clean and clean as a whistle, as they say.
Yep, they all have incredibly well developed and preserved nasal cavities. I wish I could say the same. No, I don't do cocaine. I'm just chronically stuffed up. Is there any other is Bend the River it or musically for you, or is there you're not in other bands, are you?
No, I'm not. I released a solo record a couple of years ago, very quiet acoustic record, and but that's kind of the only thing I've done outside of Bend the River.
And that's not like you don't go under a separate name or anything like that.
No, there's no other.
Not Andy
no.
Kaufman and Tony Clifton or
No.
any of that kind.
And
of...
if I did, I wouldn't probably. It wouldn't make sense for me to tell you that right now.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Are you like? Geez, I might be talking to Bing Crosby here, and I don't even know. I guess it'd be the ghost of Bing Crosby. Is he? He's not around anymore, is he?
No, he's not.
Um,
You're putting me. You're making a lot of these people are like way in the past. So far, it's Ravi Shankar and Bing Crosby. You got me mixed up with. So.
Yeah, and let me see who's Lady Gaga, but she's no longer. Or no, she is still with us. I was thinking of Amy Winehouse. I can't keep my contemporary music straight.
Also, somebody no one confuses me with.
No, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah,
I really felt some Winehouse in there. I don't know how, but I think now, folks, we are going to cut to that track. I believe it's called White Line. Is the song we're going to play for you. This is off the soon-to-be-titled album. It's currently untitled, produced by Joel Plaskett, I believe.
No, it's got a title.
It's got a.
It's very recently.
The album's got a title?
It does have a title, yeah. It's
oh
recent,
my God!
But,
breaking news, folks! Breaking news.
The new EP is going to be called Through the Long Night.
Through the Long Night.
Yes.
Well, I hope you all can make it through this song, and hopefully Grandmaster Flash doesn't sue you for the similarity of the number.
Standing by the white line, the remnants of your past, still you only just your past. hear your voice, it echoes through a place I've never been. I've witnessed a dream. I know foundations lie in wait round every corner. I know there's questions still unanswered, I suppose. I know the emptiness still lingers in our bones. Slowly fades away. Slowly drifts away. Still on down the white line, patterns in the light, they'll take us through the night. They're just like the paint on every sign. I know the sound of every track along the line. I know things that no one else will ever know. I know that your love still has like wind outside my door.
Well, folks, I think that was a pretty hot track. I quite enjoyed it. It made me think of long life and hardship on the road, maybe, and all the kind of thing. I don't know if maybe that's what you're going for or not. And believe it or not, some folks may dispute me on this, but I distinctly heard Nancy Sinatra's voice in that.
Yeah, it's I don't disagree with you.
I might, but that's all right. And yeah, like so many of us, the whole art thing is often quite a challenge. I mean, in a way, it's kind of all I do. I have some health problems otherwise, but I think someone told me you have, and I don't even know what it is, but it's kind of a sweet day gig apparently.
I don't know. Well, I kind of work in the publishing industry, doing software stuff in the day. Yeah, that's my day gig. Yeah.
That's your Clark Kent.
Yes, that's my Clark Kent. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's. Do you find it hard to like manage the day gig with being able to devote enough time to the music and all that? Or?
I don't know. It's kind of one. It's one of those things where it's like I don't really. I don't think about it. I don't think that that's any kind of issue at all. Actually, for me, I'm busy and I'm doing all kinds of stuff I want to do, and it's that's great. I mean, I'm kind of it's I don't know. I don't really think that way. I can understand. It's like it would be. I mean, it would be. There's a. I guess one could say that. If I could do music all the time, that would be fantastic. And but I like the other stuff I'm doing too. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a hedgy answer. I don't know.
Yeah. So no, it sounds like from what you're saying to me is that you managed really well. Probably, I guess I'd read into that spiritually. You're actually quite well balanced, so it doesn't seem to be too much of a stress. And I'd love to see you be able to do music full time if that were your wish. So. I don't know. who's a big recording company? Sony, if you're listening to this, sign Bend the River. Sign Bend the River, folks. And that's what I want to ask you. Has there been any regrets in the whole musical process? Is there something you wish you would have done differently, or?
Well, I tell you, working with on this this last project, like working with like we worked with Joel Plaskett and he produced, and it was like he brought an awful lot to the process, and kind of also just kind of brought, I think, a lot to kind of the game we were playing, and I really kind of wish that you know the earlier Bend the River records. This is our third record. So our first record was Revolt of Angels, which came out like 8 years ago or something, and then we had So Long Joan Fontaine, which came out 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that, and we got nominated for a Music Nova Scotia award for that, and that was a great ride, but really I kind of feel like we took on too much of the recording side of things when it would have been really, I kind of feel like if we would have kind of got somebody else on board who knew how to put together a record the way Joel does, right? It's kind of everything changes suddenly, and you're kind of like, wow, that's how you put a record together, right? So it's the guy knows what he's doing, and it's quite wonderful to be in that environment and to kind of see the process. So earlier on that would have been great.
Right. So yeah, if Plaskett had produced the first two, they probably would have sounded better.
Yeah, I mean, it would have. It just would have been. I think our heads would be in a different place by now. Probably a little bit, to be honest. Like recording with Joel is. And I'm Joel's amazing, and I'm not specifically thinking that recording with Joel, but I think getting somebody else to produce, getting somebody else to kind of come in and kind of go, this would sound great, and this would sound great, rather than it kind of being kind of an insular thing amongst ourselves about what sounds great. I think just being that kind of leap of faith is something that would have been good to do that earlier, because I think it would have. And my recommendation to everyone is do that as early as you can. Let somebody else into your game, right? I think it's a wonderful thing.
Straight from the lips of Ronok, folks, if you're looking for someone to make your records better, right away bring that independent arbiter in, like Major League Baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Wow, that's great. And here's the questions I was curious about, because I think it would sound fucking amazing. Have you ever thought about, and again, I think maybe this would go to a really 83-person band, doing something with Symphony Nova Scotia?
Oh, that would be that would be amazing. I love that kind of music. I love. I've been to a few of them, and like they do the projects. I've seen Aaron play. I've seen Amelia Curran play with the symphony. It's Phil, I think, actually scored the Amelia Curran one, and it was pretty amazing. I mean, yeah, I would at some point I'd love to work with a larger ensemble of some kind, strings or something like that. It's a sound that I love. Back to my Cole Porter roots, right? And my early '70s Nashville. I love the sound of strings. All those early Neil Young records, and it's just all of that sound. It would be amazing experience.
So that could happen potentially.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it happen, but conceivably, I guess it could happen.
Well, Symphony Nova Scotia, if you're listening to Gimpin Aint Eazy, which somehow I don't think you are, but just in case you might be, work with Bend the River. I highly recommend it. It'd be a hot show. Do you have an ultimate goal with your music, or ultimate goals, or like what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, that's a good thing to have. A goal that would be good. Sorry, 1942 was doing some doing what he does.
And I was just Josh and played around my head. He thought I was being. I don't give a fuck. I'm just messing around with him.
Yeah. So I mean, we Bend the River's kind of a bit of a unique project. The musicianship, the talent in the band is kind of like it's amazing, and I'm kind of really lucky to get to play with these guys. So
It's fucking great.
So it's kind of like always like my goal is always just keep everybody in the band interested and keep the trajectory on a doing more interesting stuff, getting a little more radio play, getting a little more exposure, kind of like bit by bit is kind of what we're trying to do. We played a series of shows for the last few years called the Harvest Jam series, and
Yes.
it was kind of an interesting idea that we did for a while, where we kind of brought up a whole slew of different songwriters. I think it was 60 all set, 1942. I think it is 60. The number's around 60.
Wow.
And we learned anywhere between 3 and 5 of their tunes, and kind of like played them live, backing them up, and I think that was a really good. That's kind of that game we're playing, where we're always trying to figure out different ways to dip into the talent pool and see what comes out.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at things. And yeah, I don't think I caught any of those shows. But yeah, you were backing them up, and I like that, keep the band interested, try to see all the different facets you can fit in, hopefully get more extra. Fuck, I hope this helps you out too, more people listen to this.
It's just good to talk to you, Josh.
Yeah,
It's good.
no, it's great to have you here, and no, I've been to plenty of shows and always a fan, and I recommend anybody out there listening to Gimpin Aint Eazy, you go see Bend the River. Ronok, now I know you run an open mic on Sundays. The Arm View, is it?
That's correct. The Arm View, yeah. Down
That's
at
just
the Rotary.
you, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's different people. I'm not there every week, but yeah, we've been doing that for a few years now, and it's some great songwriters come down and play, and some of them come down almost every week, and other ones come by once in a while, and it's a pretty fun night actually.
Yeah, no, I should get down to that one maybe sometime.
That'd be great to see you, Josh.
Yeah, it'd be hot to be there. Yeah, before, do you have shows coming up soon?
We don't have anything. We're going to do the CD release. We haven't figured out the date yet. We're working on that. That should be forthcoming, hopefully by the time this podcast airs. When is this going to air? Friday? Okay.
Hopefully this will air Friday, and yeah, maybe Bend the River will have their next gig figured out by then. Before I let you go, because this is something I want to ask all my guests, and this is a general question. What do you think the meaning of life is?
The meaning of life. You should have prepped me for that question, Josh. That's
yeah, I catch you off guard there.
Now you see, the next person doesn't have to deal with this, because they're gonna.
Yeah, they know.
If they're gonna listen, then they're
Know
gonna
it's
say,
coming.
"Oh, I see." So Josh, and they're
Yeah.
gonna sound all
Well, how
eloquent.
about, do you want me to tell you? I said mine in the last episode, but I'll say mine, and you can think for a second.
I did hear. I listened to the first episode, and I did hear, but I didn't know you were gonna.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was
Bring it on you like
an
that.
ongoing thing now, right? So,
My meaning of life is to shock and surprise people and make them uncomfortable.
well, thus
Here
mission
we are.
accomplished. Yeah. Meaning of life, I'm not sure, Josh.
You're not sure? Hey, that's fine. Look, so if you don't know the answer, that's fine. I'd rather that than faking it.
If I had to say anything, I would say that the only thing, if you look back over this planet over billions of years, there's not much remaining of all the generations, countless generations of our ancestors and their
Humans have
ancestors.
killed everything.
Well, no, I mean, if you go back a little further than that, it's not just humans. It's like one dinosaur ate the other dinosaur, ate the other. It's just, they died millions of years ago, and their bodies went down into the earth, and they're the oil that's running our cars. And it's kind of like the circle of life is kind of ends up just being dust in the end. But the one thing that kind of transcends it is a bit of art.
Hakuna Matata, folks. Dinosaur bones are running our cars, but art transcends it all. I've been Josh Dunn, and it's my pleasure to welcome Ronok Sarkar to our show. And let's clink before we drink and wish all the folks a lovely evening.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Thanks, Ronok. Hey, yo, thanks for listening, everybody. We made it through. Big thanks to Ronok for being a guest. I know his new album's going to sell hot. And thank you for listening, everybody, and helping me change perceptions and hopefully one day change reality. I've been Josh Dunn, and remember, like I told you last time, give yourselves that Ric Flair woo! And tell yourself, I am the greatest of all time, because you are. I know I am. Good night, folks.